That's one of the more impressive baseball games, and it doesn't really matter if it's postseason or not, but just to be able to go out there and watch these guys compete, and to be able to be honest, to beat a team like Cal Poly with the offense they had and the way Chris came in and did just a phenomenal job. And I'll tell you what, the environment that this community and this school put into this was one of the most impressive things we've seen. I told our coaches, I don't know if we will. I mean, we played at LSU and some places, East Carolina, that have some pretty hostile environments. Not hostile just in regards to just the fan base going up against us. And that eighth inning was something pretty impressive. So my hats go off to Cal Poly. Coach Lee, Larry and I know each other very well. And by far one of my favorite coaches to actually know, not only on the field but off the field. But game-wise, I can't say enough about the players that we had out there today. Their competitive nature, like I always say, God is good because they've dropped these guys into our lap and they bought into something we really believe in, and we believe in doing something differently, and it showed out there today.
Going up now to questions first to the Pepperdine student-athletes.
Shotgun Spratland, College Baseball Daily. Bryan, twice in the game that you have, 8, 9, 10 pitch at bats. What were you seeing up there, and how were you able to battle through and finally get a pitch that you liked?
I was really trying to get a changeup because he was working changeup a lot to the right-handed hitters, and I got a bunch of them and just dialed them straight back and just continued to try to battle through it, and eventually got one up and was able to drive it to the outfield, come through. It was nice, pretty fun.
Owen?
Ryan, your coach talked about the atmosphere here. Have you ever played an atmosphere like that? And can you just talk about San Luis Obispo Regional playing a number of games here and what it was like for you guys?
Yeah, well, mostly they're just a really good team. One of the best teams we played all year. The atmosphere was obviously really loud, exciting. It was just an unbelievable experience. We played a lot of places, the seniors, Texas A&M, all over. Just one of the best places we've ever played, just from an atmosphere standpoint. So, a lot of fun.
Both of you guys, how fulfilling is this, advancing to the Super Regionals after how tough last season was?
Yeah, I mean, some of the seniors were talking about it, and, we started off our freshman year with one of the worst seasons in Pepperdine history. And to come back from that, and go to a regional, now Super Regional, it's pretty special. I don't know what you guys
It's being a youngster, it's pretty surreal because I just came in last year with these guys, and it's really unbelievable to come together with a group of guys in August and work all the way, and then you finally get here, and it's just unbelievable to be here. So,
Josh Friedman, Pelcos News. Coach, all three of the games were tight. A couple of them got tight late in the game. What do you credit your team's composure and poise to, especially in a noisy atmosphere on the road?
Great coaching. No, I'll tell you what, this group has, there's something special about them in certain regards. They really know how to keep each other loose. They really they know how to enjoy the moment. Even in a hostile environment like this, in a competitive atmosphere like this, there's always times I'm looking down our dugout and go, what are they doing? Just because they're quirky and they do some fun stuff, and it there's times as a coach it drives me absolutely bonkers, but I usually don't say a whole lot because I know that's what they do, and that's what keeps them loose, and it keeps them occupied, and that's how they kind of manage their, I don't want to say tension or excitement or whatever it is, but having to go through the close games that we did, I'll tell you what, these guys, I don't know if it's going to be any tougher just because of the environment and the teams that we played. Like I said, Cal Poly is by far offensively one of the scariest teams that we've gone up against and probably will go up against. And the way they competed all throughout this tournament, and then having to go through Sac State and then getting to us and being able to carry that momentum in, it's a long day for them, and they did just really an amazing job.
Coach, Jacob Long, Mustang News, you mentioned maybe in the past things haven't really bounced your way, and they have been this weekend. Is tonight another example of that for you?
You know what? There were certain moments where, the line drive goes off of Manny Jefferson's glove, and I'm like, oh, is that the bad bounce or whatever it is? Hopefully we got it out of our system or whatever. You know, I just think as long as you're staying aggressive and as long as you stay competitive, that's all I can really ask for. And I'll tell you what, there's nothing that was driving him nuts more than Manny not catching that ball. You know, so I know that just because I've had an opportunity to be around these kids for so long, and I know their competitive nature. And so at that moment, I can't say a word to them. But it was great just because I knew that regardless of what happened today, I couldn't say a word in regards to how hard we competed. You know, and luckily, did we get a good balance? Maybe. You know, I mean, shoot, we had our own issues. We couldn't communicate on double play to second base, and but at the same time, they have a lack of communication as well, which allows us to get to first and second. So, you know what? In those environments, you just have some amazing athletes competing their butts off. You really do.
Coach, what are you expecting to see out of TCU in the Sewers?
You know what? I'm going to figure that out tomorrow. I was fortunate enough, I couldn't sleep last night after that game, so I was up and I was fortunate to watch the 22-inning 2.5 games being played. And so I had a chance to see him, and I know Coach Lofsnagel really well over at TCU, and I know he does an amazing job. And he would consider a rough year last year, but they're a national seed. So they're going to be very good. We're going into their house, and we're going to have to play well. We're going to have to play well because they're a very good team. But I'll tell you what, just by watching our guys this weekend and the environment that this place put together, I feel very comfortable. Yes, sir.
Coach, what does this regional win have to say about the WCC? Might it be a little stronger than people think it is? And also, how the conference tournament prepared you for this?
I'll tell you what, and I told our coaches this the other day, but the conference tournament, I think, really gave us a good setup for this because Jackson McClelland was going out there to win our conference championship for us on that. It was Saturday, I believe. All these days running into each other. So it was on Saturday, and so I told Coach Strauss, our pitching coach, I said, hey, you know what's great is Jackson has been in this environment before, and he's had to go through this, and he did an awesome job against Loyola, and he just did an awesome job here as well. So I think the conference tournament just did a great thing for us in regards to putting us in a regional-like atmosphere before we actually got to our regional. And then in regards to the WCC, I think I'll say the WCC, the Big West, I think there are a lot of schools and a lot of conferences out here that really don't get their share of the attention that is probably rightfully deserved of them. We kind of beat up on each other. We'll have a team that's 32-24, and then they go to a regional, and next thing you know, they're in a regional championship against an SEC or an ACC team. I just think that the West Coast usually does get a little knock, but I just know that the coaches out here, they coach really well. I know the teams out here are very competitive, and I just know that for the most part, we're going to put some really good baseball on the field, and after that, that's all we can do.